What's up, people? It's your girl Adiola. By now you must have heard that young guys are now stealing women panties, women underwear, supposedly for money rituals. Okay, so so there has been several videos of young guys stealing women's underwear in different parts of Nigeria. And some of them had been caught in the act. People are saying that they're using the underwear for money rituals, for black magic, voodoo. Okay, you get the point. So they said that when a woman's underwear is used for rituals, that the woman will start vomiting cash wherever she is. She'll be vomiting thousands of naira, and that the money disappears after some minutes. So the person that used her for a ritual gets the money. So they call it human ATM. I don't know what to believe. So some people believe this, some people don't, obviously. Also, there was a housemaid that was caught stealing her madam's underwear, and I think the madam's daughter's underwear as well.
O kon ti e ko ma wo se tó bá fẹ́ kó pants oni pants tó bá fẹ́ ma wo se o lè sọ fún wọn kó fẹ́ ma wo pants ẹ̀rù en bá mi ló ṣe kó pants mi lẹ́yìn.
Can you imagine? Okay, this is serious. You see why we have to talk about this. So the police have said that they cannot be investigating underwear thieves. They said we don't investigate divination or morality except for related acts that constitute a criminal offense. I mean, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say about this, because to me this is just a result of series of problems with ripple effect. There are so many factors that would lead young people, people that are educated, to stealing underwear in the hopes of making money. And also a lot of factors that would lead people to believe that they can become wealthy by stealing underwear. And we're talking about educated people. First of all, the Nigerian labor force doesn't employ graduates that we have each year. The parents will struggle to afford to get their children educated, but upon graduation, there are instances where the child is staying home for years. Some people for 5 years with no job. They are frustrated and they are desperate to do anything to make a living. A majority of kidnappers in Nigeria today, as you guys know, are educated. We've heard about master's degree holders among kidnappers in Nigeria. It's quite unfortunate. The unemployment rate in Nigeria has led to a higher crime rate in the country. Also, our education system has become nothing to write home about. Students are not challenged to create their own jobs. Those who invent things in school, they are not encouraged to continue. Many of them lack funds for the mass production of their prototypes. So we hear about them and then that's the end of it. People like this would have been able to go on and establish big companies. Meanwhile, our society is so used to taking shortcuts to get anything done. The mindset of so many Nigerians is that you have to know somebody if you want to get something. You have to be connected to get admission to the university. You have to be connected to get a job. You have to be connected to get your driver's license. We're so used to shortcuts to the point where people want to make money without working for the money, which is why young people today will be willing to kidnap people, will be willing to do rituals and steal underwear in the hopes of making money. And in terms of solution, I think first of all the government needs to work on creating jobs. They need to create more jobs for people. You cannot have majority of graduates unemployed and not expect crime rate to increase. They also need to build our infrastructure, because that would attract investors and create more jobs. The government needs to empower people. They need to empower business owners. But again, we need infrastructure, especially stable electricity for business owners to thrive. Also, our education system needs to be more challenging and it has to engage people's faculty. Students shouldn't be giving money to professors or sleeping with professors in order to pass. We need to eradicate shortcuts in Nigeria and ensure that people observe due procedures in every sector. Until then, we will just be dealing with symptoms because we are not treating the cause of the symptoms. Today we're dealing with underwear. Tomorrow it could be bra or people's hair. And we also need to work on jungle justice in Nigeria and let the police do their job. I know that people don't trust the police, but a lot of innocent lives have been lost to jungle justice in Nigeria. So we really need to work on that. In the meantime, if you're a woman and you normally air dry your underwear outside, maybe you should air dry it inside. I'm just saying. And also here is a little song to discourage underwear thieves.
Pants cannot walk, our pants cannot walk, our pants cannot walk for you. If you take it for ritual and use it for ritual, Our pants cannot work for you. We dey want you now. Our pants cannot work. Our pants cannot work.
Thank you so much, my sister. There you have it. Their pants will not work for you.
Your pata go work. Your pata go work. Your pata go work for me. If I take it for this car, I will use that to buy best. Your pata go work for me. Hallelujah.
You guys now don't know much. Guess what? I'm just keeping it real. And speaking of the coming election, it's been real. As you guys must have heard, the IPOB leader Nnamdi Kanu has announced that Atiku, the PDP candidate, is a Cameroonian, and so he has ordered his followers to boycott the coming election. He's been telling them to boycott for a long time anyway. So for those who may be wondering, Atiku's hometown used to be part of Cameroon before their independence in 1961, and so they became part of Nigeria in 1961.
Here on Radio Biafra, anything I say is gospel. He was born in 1946. When did they join Nigeria? Was Atiku therefore born a Nigerian?
Not at all.
Then he shouldn't be contesting for the presidency. Atiku left Jonathan, our brother, to go and campaign for his own brother, who is a Fulani man, Buhari.
Anyway, but you know, I'm really surprised that his followers are not circulating this the way they were circulating that Buhari is Jubril from Sudan when he told them so. Is it possible that they've collected money from PDP?
We are the children of light. Without us, Africa will remain poor forever and ever. We are the only hope of Africa. Biafra is the only hope, in fact, for every black man on the face of this very earth.
Maybe they are just selective in the information that they circulate from the Mazi. Also, if they should boycott this election, they may just help Buhari to win the election.
Deyanut, wherever you are, listening to my voice, we the indigenous people of Biafra are saying on 16th of February, we are not going to vote in Biafra land. 16th of February, 2019. We are not interested in what they are doing.
They may just help Buhari to win the election. I mean, so I say that if you are a follower of Nnamdi Kanu and you don't want Buhari to win in this coming election, you can vote him out. You know, there are options. You can either vote for the hurricane, or you can vote for the force, or the Cameroonian with a bomb tattoo. There are so many options. But seriously, if you're tired of Buhari like so many of us are, I don't think you should boycott the election, because you may just help him to win the election. Meanwhile, Buhari now thinks he came into power in 2005.
I assure you that we are very conscious of the promises we made when we were coming in 2005.
Okay, this is becoming scary. Another slip of tongue? Seriously? If the man is not well, why can't he just tell us? You know what I mean? Or step down. Anyway, you guys don't know much. Guess what? I'm just keeping it real. Moving on to Zimbabwe, as you guys know, a sudden increase in the fuel price to $12 per gallon has led to a significant increase in the price of goods and services in the country. And the Zimbabwean Congress of Trade Unions organized a 3-day stay-home protest against the fuel price hike, as well as against the rising poverty level. As you guys know, this became a full-blown protest, and the soldiers opened fire. They killed 12 people. Several others with gun injuries later died, like this boy. So it's not just 12 people that were killed, and it's all because they protested. And of course, the trade union leaders were arrested, including Pastor Evans. They were accused of attempting to overthrow a constitutionally elected government, and people were like, no, that doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. Anyway, Pastor Evans was later released, as well as the president of the trade union. I'm really excited though that other countries in Africa are speaking out about what's happening in Zimbabwe. For example, the Nigerian Labour Congress protested in Abuja on behalf of the trade union leaders of Zimbabwe.
We are, as ITUC, will also write a formal petition to the International Court of Justice, because it is criminal for any government to turn around and kill a citizen. The blood of those citizens will surely be on the shoulders of Mungwagwe.
Okay, I think he means Mnangagwa. Okay, so also the Botswana Federation of Trade Unions are standing with the Zimbabweans.
We organized the solidarity protest, which was today, 1st February 2019, and we marched in solidarity of workers in Zimbabwe.
And not just that, the South African trade unions are also standing in solidarity with the Zimbabweans. It's good to see people of different countries coming together to fight impunity in another African country. Meanwhile, instead of the president, Mnangagwa, to acknowledge that people are tired of his conduct and for them to bring down the price of fuel, instead of that, the man is now saying that there are some foreign agents and foreign intelligence services who assisted the demonstrators physically in order to revolt against him when they had the 3-day protest. And I'm like, that doesn't sound like this man is getting the memo. He's not getting the memo. In fact, he's now saying that they have to be better prepared next time for the foreign agents. I'm like, okay, the man is not ready to do what the people are asking for. We'll keep you guys posted on the development in Zimbabwe. You guys not don't know much. Guess what? I'm just keeping it real. Moving on to South Africa, popular prophet Bushiri, who calls himself Major One Prophet. You guys remember the iPad miracle performing prophet? Yeah.
Can I capture? Oh, deeper man of God.
Exactly, that one. Thank you very much. So the 35-year-old shepherd Huxley Bushiri was arrested last Friday with his wife, and they've both been charged with fraud and money laundering. Of course, his church members are really upset. They are saying that this is a persecution against the man of God. In fact, they had to postpone his court hearing last Monday because his church members were outside protesting and praying vigorously. So they postponed it till last Wednesday. Also, many of them believe that the man of God was arrested simply because he's rich and people are jealous of him. And of course, he's rich. We've seen the houses. We saw the car that he bought for his 6-year-old daughter. We've seen the cars that he drives, and we've seen the private jets. So his church members believe that this is why he's being persecuted.
Black people, they're always against black people. If a black person gets rich, always they go behind him.
Yes.
Major One has brought civilization this country.
Yes.
Just because our father is rich, they are attacking him.
So they are also saying that people holding him will burn. I'm not sure if they mean burn in hellfire, but they just said they will burn.
Those criminals are going to pay. They are going to pay.
Anyway, his church members are now threatening to boycott the upcoming South African election if their prophet is not released.
We are going to show the government that the power of the people is more powerful because it's the power from God. If the government is not supporting us in our fight, we're not going to vote. Why vote for a government that is arresting the people of God?
Now, keep in mind that since early 2018, there has been several reports that Bushiri transports about 15 million rands from South Africa in his private jet to his home country, Malawi, every month. But he's been interviewed about this and he denied it.
So you're saying those reports that you transported 50 million rand out of South Africa are false?
Completely false.
Okay.
Because number one, I can't afford that amount of money. It's a lot of money. And number two, as the report said that I use my private jet to transfer money, is quite amazing because my private jet was under maintenance for the past 10 months last year, so I didn't use it last year.
But you know, the security operatives have charged him with fraud and money laundering. Keep in mind though that before this happened, on December 28th of 2018, during their final anointing service of the year, there was a heavy rainfall which led to a stampede as several people rushed to get inside his church. In the process, 3 women died and several others were injured. Now the problem is, before the police arrived at the scene, the church took the bodies of the 3 women who died to a private mortuary and they did not tell the police about it. So the family members of those who died had to be looking for their loved ones. It took them 4 days to finally find their loved ones. When they found their loved ones at this private mortuary, they had to call the police before their loved ones were released to them.
The mortuary that she was kept, that mortuary isn't working. There's no business there. They take people to their mortuary so that we can't find them. That mortuary belongs to a pastor in the church. There's a security guard there. He was told no one must see the the people that are inside until the police intervened.
So a lot of people are angry that the church was trying to cover up what happened. Keep in mind that night when the stampede happened and people died, they had the service after getting rid of the bodies. It was like nothing happened. They went on like business as usual. But when the police found out about the people who died, they closed down their church for 4 weeks. So a lot of South Africans are upset that even though they didn't cause the stampede, that there was no remorse for those who died and that they got rid of the bodies quickly without letting the police know, as if they were trying to cover up something. Meanwhile, some of his church members are saying that he wasn't the one that invited the people who died and that he didn't cause the stampede. He's not responsible for what happened. So why should they stop their church services for the sake of those who died? Anyway, as it is right now, some family members of those who died are asking for 1 million rand each as compensation from the prophet.
My mother's body was like, you know, when I found her on Monday, we struggled to find my mother. It was smelling.
Sanko is calling for the bereaved families to be compensated with no less than 1 million rand each.
Meanwhile, some South Africans are protesting that he must leave their country.
Well, the protesters are demanding that Bushiri leave South Africa and return to his home country.
On Friday night, irate members of Sanko in Tshwane blockaded the road next to one of the gates leading into the Pretoria showgrounds. They are demanding that the charismatic pastor leave the country. The church's lawyer agrees to meet them on Monday.
In the meantime, the man of God has been granted bail and his wife, and his case has been adjourned.
Breaking news: enlightened Christian gathering leader Shepherd Bushiri and his wife have been granted 100,000 rand bail. The case has been postponed to the 10th of May.
We'll keep you guys posted on the court case, but you guys not don't know much. Guess what? I'm just keeping it real. So I'm really excited to give you guys some updates about what we are doing among the Cameroonian IDPs in Nigeria. Thank you once again to all who donated. We're so grateful. Dr. Sesson, one of our board members, as well as Pastor Joel, who coordinated our 2 Benue outreaches, spent last weekend with the refugees at Ogoja settlement in Cross River State, where the United Nations set up a settlement for at least 7,000 refugees. Special thanks to the UN for letting us come in and be a part of what they are doing among these refugees. The UN is really doing an amazing job in getting them settled. So thank you so much to the UN, and also huge thanks to the Director General of SEMA for welcoming us as well. We couldn't do any of this without the UN and SEMA's cooperation. So last weekend we dug a borehole. Yay! And of course, the people were so excited to finally have water right in the settlement. Prior to that, the UN has been bringing them water from outside, but now they have a borehole right in the settlement. So we are really excited for them. So we are getting them 2 big tanks to hold up to 10,000 liters of water so that they can just turn on the tap instead of having to pump, because there's a lot of people. It's going to be a lot of line. This is really significant because remember that we are also going to build them toilets. So we'll be able to channel some of the water from the borehole to the toilet. So we're really excited for them about that. This is an example of the toilet that they presently have. This is what a family of 7 using. So the second thing that they did last weekend was to distribute 1,000 reusable pads for women. Yay! For real, you have to be a woman to understand the importance of this. When you are a refugee and you're on your period, it's not funny at all. In fact, we wanted to give just the younger ladies, but you need to come and see the women. The grown-up women were like, we will not be left out of this. I heard that they fought until they were also given pads. Each woman received 4 reusable pads, 1 new underwear, 1 bar of soap, 1 pad holder, 1 Ziploc bag to keep used pad until they wash it. So the women were really excited about that.
The second batch of the sharing going on, this is the people that have received the pads. All these women benefiting from Kewa Foundation right here at Adagom Settlement, Cameroon refugees. the sharing is still going on.
So each pad is 980 naira, and we ordered 1,000 pads. So we spent 980,000 naira on the pads to get 1,000 pads. Plus transportation from Abuja, we spent about 1 million naira on the pads. But guess what? They said it's not enough. There are women who were so disappointed that they couldn't get the pads. Keep in mind that these pads will sustain them for the next 2 to 3 years. They no longer have to worry about pads whenever they have their period. So being a medical doctor, Dr. Sesson went to visit the clinic at the settlement only to find out that they had no medication. He called me and he said, Adela, these people have no medication. The nurses are begging us for drugs. I was like, well, we didn't plan on doing that, but hey, it's not ideal that people will have no access to medication. You know, from time to time, there will be emergency cases. They have to be able to take care of that. So they went out that night and they bought them more than 25 different types of medication. They bought malaria medication, antibiotics, anti-diarrhea, anti-worm, iron medication for pregnant women, first aid medications. They bought medications worth 232,000 naira, and the nurses were so happy. This is one of the nurses thanking you guys for making this possible.
Just for the use of the settlement for the meantime. Yeah. We hope that in time we'll be able to provide more for you.
We asked for small and we are giving like a bag full of yam, but we appreciate from the bottom of our hearts. And ask that wherever it came out from, that God will restore.
Oh, thank you so much. So we're really happy that now they have medication and they're so happy about that. So the main purpose of them going that weekend was actually to figure out the logistics of empowering people with skills that they could turn into money. So the first one is soap making. We've made arrangement for a soap maker that lives in the settlement to train 50 people. He would train them in batches. So he said that each training would need 20,000 naira for the materials that they need for the training. They will be training them for 10 weeks. So 20,000 naira for 50 trainees, that is 1 million naira. We've also made arrangements with 6 tailors, fashion designers. Each one of them will train 5 people for 6 months. And when they are done, we'll buy each one of them a sewing machine. So we'll buy them some sewing machines for the training and then buy each one of them a sewing machine upon graduation. And we want them to train others upon graduation. Also, they found 4 barbers among the refugees, each one willing to train 5 people in 2 months. And then they will train another 5 people for another 2 months. In total, each one of the barbers would train 15 people. Altogether, they would train 60 people. And of course, we'll buy each one of them clippers. And those 60 people will now train others as well. They also found 2 hairdressers who are willing to train 20 people. So they will also train them in batches. And so, of course, our representatives will be going back again to work with the people. Meanwhile, we'll also get started on building the toilet so that people can have good water and good toilets while they're being empowered. Those things are very important until you don't have access to them. That is when you will appreciate having a good toilet. Once again, thank you so much, guys, for all your donations. We wouldn't have been able to do any of these things without you guys. And as we continue to go along, I'll be bringing you like a breakdown of how much we have spent. So I just wanted to bring you some good news this week. A huge shout out to the Southern Camp Humanitarian Initiative. That's a Cameroonian organization here in the US. I believe they are based in Chicago. They called me that they wanted to donate, and I told them to put it on GoFundMe, but they asked whether GoFundMe would take part of the money, and I told them yes, GoFundMe would take certain % of the money. So they said no, we want you to have everything. So they mailed me a check of $1,500. Thank you so much for doing this. And you know the funny thing, they didn't know that we were thinking about buying reusable pads for the women, but on their check they wrote money for pads, and we were like, wow. So we were able to add this to the money that we used to buy pads. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you. Not just them, all the Cameroonian groups that donated, and every single individual that donated money. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you guys. And yes, we're still taking donations. You can donate on GoFundMe, or you can donate directly to our bank account here or our bank account in Nigeria. Well, you guys not don't know much. Guess what? I'm just keeping it real. Alright, y'all, it's been real, and I'm keeping it right up in here. Don't forget to follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And if you're yet to subscribe to my YouTube channel, please make sure that you do that. Until next week, I must see you later. Peace out.